mounting 5 or 7 boxes around the room and planting a subwoofer, or better yet, 2 if you have the space. It's how surround sound is done, right? Not in an apartment as small as mine.
And not mine either.
Yeah.
Space-limited environment.
Sorry. Now, in the early days, right, satellites obviously are not a new idea, but tiny satellites in the early days, they meant tiny audio, a little tinny, maybe the crossover to the subwoofer wasn't so hot. But I gotta say, Orb Audio's bizarre wee balls of steel, that didn't really sound right. Definitely deliver excellent surround sound without overwhelming the room they're in. And when I say overwhelming, I mean spousal acceptance factor, to borrow a phrase from our friend Lloyd Case. Well, okay, the copper ones pretty much pop no matter where you put them. They're loud.
Fancy.
They would go well with the kitchen if you had a lot of copper pans, I guess.
Or the bar room.
But seriously, these things reaffirm my belief that size did not equal quality or volume. Now, let's talk about Orb speakers. The actual physical, like the magnets for the speakers themselves are made in China because you basically can't get neodymium drivers. Did I actually say neodymium correctly? That's a first. But basically everything else, including the final assembly of Orb Audio's devices, are in the United States, actually down in LA, and almost all their suppliers are down in LA. So pretty much everything inside this thing, including the copper wiring, they actually found somebody in the United States that still draws copper wire. I love this concept. The same speaker is used for front, center, and surround channels, and they offer them in basic or doubled up versions. The Mod 1, which basically includes the Super 8-inch subwoofer, and I know some of you out there are like, I've got a Shure subwoofer. 8-inch subwoofer is not going to fulfill my needs. Okay, you got the giant room, you get the giant subwoofer, but basically the idea is you have 5 of these,
nice,
plus your subwoofer, and it's actually pretty good. The Mod 1 Plus, $1,000, the same deal as above, but includes the Mod 2 dual orb center channel and free speaker wire and subwoofer cable. I don't know if that's the cool, US-made copper cable. I have to check on that. Now, the People's Choice costs $1,100. It swaps in the Mod 2 dual orb speakers for the center and both front channels, and the Mod 2, which clocks in at $1,289, has dual orb speakers for the front, center, and surrounds. Now, I got to say, we did the Mod 2s up front, where basically 2 on the left, 2 on the right, 2 on the center, and then a single channel for the surrounds. That actually sounded pretty good. They're offering 8 and 10-inch subs. They're clean. They're surprisingly not boomy for a tune port sub, actually. I'm always a little worried, or maybe I just didn't play the right note to get the boominess. These are not Shure VTF-Mark IIIs, but one of those magnificent monsters, which also I think come from the LA, would cost you $630 alone for the subwoofer and would probably blow the stucco clean off the walls of my building. That is a subwoofer that will fill a big room. It is overkill for most people. Now, quick note, Orb also sells speakers individually. If you start out 5.1, you could add in the 7.1. They come in 5 colors. We've got the copper, the fabulous black gloss, the white gloss, and somewhere around here, I think this is the bronze, and of course the steel. They really sound good. I was actually, because we did some challenging stuff. One of my favorite scenes, Fight Club, they're on the plane, right? Edward Norton is talking to this innocent woman sitting next to him, and he's envisioning the plane getting hit by another plane. This is a challenging scene, because you go from a nice, detailed, beautiful center channel conversation to a plane exploding around you. And they deliver. They delivered without basically a nice, clean, I would say wall of sound. It's one of those scenes where you go from like center channel, everything else is just kind of sitting there, or actually the bar scene in Fight Club, another good one where Tyler Durden and Edward Norton's character, Brad Pitt and Edward Norton's character meet. Beautiful, nice, small details from left and right channels and surrounds, and that beautiful centered conversation up front. I thought these sounded great. I thought they sounded spectacular given the size, because I've owned some small satellite-type speaker systems that sounded like ass. These are not one of them. They're not the cheapest out there, but they are probably perfect for people with small spaces. If you have a really huge room you need to fill with sound, they might not be perfect, but if you have a really big room to fill with sound, you might be able to afford bigger speakers.
Now, when you had the setup, like we have the 2 channel setup, or the 2 speaker setup up front, could you start with just the 1 speaker at each point, and then can you buy them one at a time and just add them in as you get them?
Yeah, I don't know what the pricing of that would be like, because what they do with these is, in this case, they shipped the stands. So
cool
basically, they wire these together. Not, it's almost kind of like bio-wiring, except it's not. So they basically have the 2 individual components that are suspended on the stand, and then you wire them together. So it's
done in series then.
It's.
I like that.
Series or parallel? Parallel. These are
Is
done
it parallel?
parallel actually because it's from here to here. And
good point.
Series would be positive to negative, negative to positive, and really weird stuff would happen. But even with as little as we had like a 60-watt amplifier, kind of our workhorse, an old Marantz, did a great job driving. We don't require a huge driver. They're fairly efficient.
I like the expandability. That seems kind of like a good idea.
Yeah,
get as much speakers you need.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it would cost to like buy the stand separately, but I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised at how good they sound. You guys have been asking for a lot of advice on audio. We're just starting to figure out our testing methodology, how we're gonna do this. Right now, it's the old school, non-scientific. We set them up, we tune them, and then we listen to some of our favorite audio scenes to see how these fare compared to other ones we've listened to. It's not the most scientific thing out there, but I gotta say, these were delivering on the surround sound audio for movies. If they're in your price range, they may be a little expensive for some folks. They're definitely worth checking out. They've got a really slick, hassle-free trial. You cover the shipping. You can test them out yourself for 30 days. If you keep them, hey, you got them. If you don't like them, you ship them back. It's a pretty good deal.